Let's talk. Pardon the virtual background, but I just thought we needed to talk because there's some things I've done since our last talking session that I wanted to go over. Moreover, I want to tell you about some future plans and what's been happening with the channel. I think that's very important for me as a content creator to let you know what's going on. So first, let's talk about YouTube. With YouTube, they have been sending me out a bunch of content creator surveys. When this takes place, it is generally that they're evaluating things before they get ready to make some critical changes. So they can always say, oh, it's based off of the survey material that we're doing. And based off of the survey material, a lot of it has to do with money making, how we make our money, how we get the data that we need for our money, the interface with Google Google owns YouTube, but YouTube employees, things of that nature. But they're also concerned about inclusion. Now, inclusion is and community standards. Unlike many social platforms where they say, okay, we're no longer going to allow this, we're no longer going to allow that. YouTube is retroactive. So that means, let's say that a war breaks out in Bosnia next week, and I make a video about Bosnia and something that I think is stupid, okay? That they're somehow, maybe they're doing a tariff or something other, and it's impacting the American economy because we're now on a global marketplace, which I don't agree with, but that's what it is. So we no longer make things, we no longer grow things, not mom and pops. It's either big companies, and if the big companies are doing it, they're normally doing overseas for cheaper, or they got some type of fantastic deal with the government where we're paying for them to get reductions in cost through taxpayer dollars. And so you have these types of backdoor agreements and all these agreements and deals that no one really knows unless you're heavily involved in politics, you are heavily involved in research and stuff, or you have an advanced degree and experience in the field like I do. So most time this stuff you never know. For instance, when the outbreak in Northern Europe, because I can't say where because I get demonetized, when it took place, there was one country that has a blue and yellow flag that produced a ton of corn, and that corn was used for a number of corn-based products. So you have artificial sweeteners, things of that nature. So we were buying it from Northern Europe, their corn, at a reduced price point rather than using American corn growers. And for that reason, when that outbreak took place, it impacted consumers in ways that we never thought would have happened. And as this taken place, then YouTube came along and said, you cannot talk about this war at all. If you do, we will demonetize you. And that, if you don't know what that means, it means they're taking away the money. So, and they would take away your channel as well. So you would no longer see this channel if I said something about it. And I have to be very careful. We have to use sneaky ways around it. So when there was an outbreak back March 2020, we couldn't say what that outbreak was. We could not give our opinion about it. Even if I was a doctor, which I am not a medical expert, but if I were to say something about it, they would have took my channel down. So we can't even say that. I couldn't even say that I was sick with it or tell you what I felt about it. Being sick with it. I've now had it three times. And yeah, I couldn't tell you that, yeah, it was really nothing. Um, okay. So, but let's say that I was saying, well, this happening in Asia, you know, uh, be on the lookout for whatever. If I did that in February, you know, well, actually it was 2020, yeah, 2020. So if I did it in February 2020 and saying, I'm seeing some handwriting on the wall, you're fixing to have your rights eroded away by activists, and I think that the politicians are going to fall lockstep behind the activists. Then when YouTube made that rule in March 2020, I would have had my channel taken down for that February content. So I just want to let you know that is a very big issue. And so I, I am expecting YouTube to make some changes. And a lot of it's going to involve inclusion. And they're focusing not really on women. They're not focusing on women or men as well. So they're focusing on exclusion based on your perceived identity and your the race or ethnicity that you choose to identify with. So that's something to be concerned about if you're a content creator, that you can make a joke, and with their cancel culture mentality, in fact, they may even ban the term cancel culture, and this video now get demonetized. But I'm going to say it what it is: cancel culture. They they're going to eventually strike certain terms like that away as well. Right now, I have decided to go against what the experts, and I want to use air quotes there, so experts that consult about social media. I've been going against what they're saying because I was doing what they said and I was getting subscribers, but I was not getting views and I was not getting interaction. YouTube pays you based off of views and interactions. Now, yes, they do see subscribers differently than non-subscribers. So if you will hit that notification bell right now, and it's free, if you hit that and then you either hit the like button, you can also hit the dislike button. So if you don't like something I say, hit dislike button, because they see likes and dislikes the same way. They don't care if you dislike it or like it. The fact is that I had a subscriber interact with me, and that's all they care about. So if you will either hit like or dislike, you don't have to agree with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. And you subscribe, then that will be seen by YouTube as being more valuable than you just watching my video and not subscribing. So the amount of money that I get from the ads that I have no control over, the ads that play on this channel, then when they pay YouTube, I get a portion of it. And YouTube divvies it out as YouTube sees fit. Now, I will state that YouTube around the 21st, because that tends to be about when they do their payouts, around the 21st, the analytics will change dramatically. So I might have something that be $20, $30, $50, whatever video saying, okay, I'm going to get paid for this video for this amount of money. And then when about week to 2 weeks for the 21st, 4 checks are cut, or they don't actually cut checks, they send it electronically, but for the money's divvied out, they all of a sudden now it's 20 cent, 30 cent, 50 cent. So it's amazing how they change the data as they see fit. So I was listening to the professionals, and I decided I'm not going to do that anymore, uh, because I was gaining subscribers and not getting views, not like I wanted. And that's stupid because you don't get paid for the subscribers per se. You get paid more subscribers interact and watch. But I'd have people subscribe, but they weren't watching enough to make it worth my while. The only time subscribers really matter, once you get up past 10,000, then advertisers start looking at your channel and the performance of your channel. And they say, okay, we'll start paying for sponsorships. And that is where most YouTubers get a lot of the money to actually produce the video. So YouTube doesn't really normally pay you enough to cover the production costs of your video. So you need a sponsor to pay for those production costs. And so then they'll go from there and do like some will have ambassador programs. So if you have a fishing channel or a hunting channel, you might want to get with a company like Danco, or you might want to get with 6 Cents Fishing or Guggen Fishing, Guggen Baits. And so what they'll do is that they, as being a brand ambassador, some of them will pay you certain amounts of money monthly, annually, whatever, in addition to whatever you make from other things with them. And that helps supplement your channel and bring in income to where it's actually profitable, because you're just not going to make enough money on YouTube by itself to be profitable. And then others will do Patreon. So a lot of the channels, you'll see them say, hey, look, thank you for the Patreon, because they're the ones that actually keep the light bill on. Like me, I work a full-time job. I am a professional mediator. Now, I also do some small business consulting and side gigs where I help with editing books, or talking about cultural issues or archetypes and allegory. I'll do things of that nature. So a lot of my stuff is consulting work that I do. And I get paid for my consulting work and my mediation work, not for YouTube. And you really need to get at least over 100,000 subscribers before the economy of things changes to the point that you can say, okay, I can quit my job. And most content creators are nowhere near that level. So what I did is I just didn't listen to the experts. Instead, I started listening to the old YouTubers that would tell you, this is what I wish I could have done differently. This is what I'm doing now. This is what's working for me. And by listening to the old YouTubers, they're the ones that tell you, hey, look, big changes come around October. So whenever they start sending out their little surveys, be very careful, because they're fixing to change things up. They've done enough. They know all the little tricks, and they know when to time things. They know when to time their videos. And I've been really listening to them, because normally your views and subscribers drop after October. That tends to be the case. So I've quit listening to the experts that say put out 2-3 videos a week and get a ton of subscribers. I've quit doing that. I've went to 1 video a week, and that has made all the difference in the analytics. Now, if you pull up my video on Social Blade or some other software program that's supposed to be given a grade on my channel, you will see that my channel has fallen. So it went from an A+ to a C-. They don't like the fact that I'm posting only once a week. They don't like that I am posting longer content videos. They don't like a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, but they've got a one size fits all approach. Yes, my subscribers have pretty much flatlined. They're growing, but not at the rates they're going. But my watch hours has increased dramatically. And the amount of the videos being watched and commented on and the interplay is way better than what it was when I was churning out a bunch of videos. I think it is better for me to spend a little bit more time on my videos and put out something that I want to watch rather than being worried about being on a deadline and putting out a bunch of stuff that I'm really not happy with. So that's that. I will say that since starting, I debuted my first video for this channel back in October of 2021. And in October 2021, from then to now, we have had 222,000 views. Now that's amazing. And I really do appreciate it. I really do. We have had over 6,000 watch hours. That that blows me away. I mean, this is small potatoes. If you're a big YouTuber or a bigger YouTuber than me, you're like, that's nothing. I do that on a Monday. Okay, yeah. But when you're just getting started out, this is a huge benchmark. And I think that you know what I'm talking about if you'll remember where you was at when you was in my situation. It is a big, when you're coming from nothing to this, that's amazing. I've had just under 2,000 subs so far. That's not much. So I'm saying I need 10,000 just to kind of get into the ballpark. And my wife and some of my family members, I joke, I have benchmarks that I set up to where I know where I'm headed with my channel, because if I ever get sponsors, different items normally go to channels at different levels. So I'm trying to work towards an electric bicycle, because really and truly, that's just a benchmark for me. That is, I mean, I am not somebody that bicycles a lot, and none of the channels that I watch are content creators where I would see that as being a good fitting for them. But I am producing content in those same veins, and yes, that would work. Another one is a flashlight. Some of these flashlights that they can change colors and do all this special stuff. Again, these companies, they're looking at numbers, not right fit for their audience, and so they're basically giving away to everybody that fits their criteria. And so a flashlight lets me know at what criteria I'm at, where I'm at. A kayak, different content creators in certain niches, and I'm in that niche because I do kayaking as well. They'll give kayaks away, and I'm not talking about, cheap ones. I am talking about, $4,000 or $5,000 kayaks with motors and propellers and all that good stuff in it. So, those are things I'm looking at going, okay, if I get a sponsor that provides this product, I will know I'm at this level, not necessarily how many views I'm getting, how many subscribers I get, because there is a trend that I know where they fit. That the flashlight, the electric bicycle, drones, that's another one that I've had content creators that get free drones, and it'd be good quality drone, and then they find out that they have to register the drones and that they have to have a pilot's license to use the camera feature on monetized channels, and they get all upset and they won't do it, and they dog cuss the company. I'm not going, if you give me something, I'm not going to dog cuss it. That's not going to happen. I might dog cuss if I spend out my own money on it, but if you give me something, I'm not going to dog cuss it. I might say there's some issues with it that I have, and I'll be honest, but I'm definitely not going to dog cuss you. So I've got that list, and that's where I'm going to. Then looking at my views, roughly 46% of the viewers are American. From there, 9%, 10% are from India, and then you got the rest being variations of 2%, 1%, all the way down. So UK is almost 3%, it's 2 point something percent. Russia's 2 point something percent. Canada's like 2 point something percent. So there's, that breakdown. 72% of my viewers are male. I find that to be quite interesting. But it tends to be the case for a lot of YouTube channels that most of your viewers are going to be male. For whatever reason, a lot of the female viewers don't like to watch YouTube videos. There are certain niches that isn't true, but even in those niches where you have a high or higher than normal female population, you actually still have a majority male population. Again, not trying to comment about certain groups, but there are certain people that they, certain males that they want to watch a channel about putting on makeup. So that is the reason for that. And now I have to be very careful how I say things because of possible standards being changed for inclusion. For instance, Guggen, they are very inclusive with who they have as their ambassadors. And even they have had some expressed concerns that they might lose their channel because YouTube sees fishing, hunting, politics, talking about news lying or misportraying things, news about politicians having left-leaning, policies, things of that nature. YouTube, they're trying to cancel out that stuff. So if you have a program where you're reporting on the news stuff that's maybe not being reported everywhere else, like officers that are arresting people for exercising their free speech, and they have a Bible in their hand and arresting them at a certain type of rally. When you're not at the rally, you're not interacting with those rally people, you're on a street corner and you're allowed that by law, officers arresting people. If you report that, you might be demonetized in the future. And so that's something to be careful of. And if you fish any, I can't even show videos of cleaning fish anymore. And some content creators have gone into the gray area by transforming the image to black and white in the hopes that maybe the algorithm won't pick up the blood that you sometimes have from fish where you're you didn't bleed them out, and they're hoping that nobody complains to staffers who are of a counterculture that believes that to be horror and a trigger for somebody, which it shouldn't be, but it is. So that's something to be concerned about if you're on my end of things. Like I said, 72% male, 66% of the viewers are anywhere between the ages of 18 and 44. Most of my viewers are at least 10 to 12 years younger than me. So I find it interesting that the majority of my viewers are wanting to listen to a guy that's way older than them. So I hope that I'm providing you some sage advice and that you're learning something from me that benefits your life. And if so, please comment down below what you like about my channel, because I would love to hear that. Let's talk about Rumble. With Rumble, the fact that we already covered the issues with YouTube, it is becoming so onerous in the YouTube universe that they're creating a hostile work environment for us creators, to where we have no guarantee that the work we've put out in the past is going to cause us in the future to be demonetized and taken off YouTube altogether. They've done it before. They've done it numerous times. The latest time was last year with a debacle about cussing. You couldn't say any cuss word. And there was channels taken down for months. And then finally YouTube came back and brought back some of the channels. But those channels, they lost a fortune. And they've never gotten back to where they need to be. And YouTube isn't going to pay them compensation. So that means that us content creators have to be cognizant of the handwriting on the wall, that you're operating on a platform that is a counterculture platform. And if you're not on the right side of things, which is the left, then you're probably going to be in trouble. So we have to look for other alternatives. The problem is with video, there's really no alternatives, no good alternatives to YouTube. Now, back when I first joined up and signed up with YouTube back in 2011, the good old days, I should, in hindsight, have done my channel then, but I didn't. They really didn't have a monetization program in place. That was a new concept for people, that you could actually get paid for social media, and very few people got on there, and it was kind of like Wild Wild West. And so I was like, God, if I could find some platform that was like YouTube back in the good old days and just stay with them, that's where I need to be. That really is where I need to go. Well, Rumble, they've had their hiccups. They're not that great, but they're providing content, and they're providing monetization. Now they got some weird plans. I believe they're based out of Canada, if I remember right. And so one of them is that you lose all rights as a content creator if you use that plan for them, and then they promote you as they see fit, and then you get like 90% of the earnings. The one that I have chosen is similar to YouTube. They even market similar to YouTube, and they take 40% of the ad revenue, and then you're able to do what you wish. And they even allow you to sync with your YouTube channel. So what I've done is I've gone all the way back to my first video, and I have synced my videos with Rumble. And this is going to be my first video that hopefully will actually sync over as I join Rumble and the platform itself. So today is September 25th. I'll be posting it very shortly. I've got a bunch of videos that I'm editing right now, so this one will kind of have to wait until some of the videos get finished editing. But once I get all that done, I get this out. I'll try to get this out before all the others. And then from this video on, as I post to YouTube, it's supposed to automatically post to Rumble. And Rumble's analytics, from what I understand, are basically unusable for content creators. Their views, looking at other channels that they're promoting that they claim are big channels, their views, I get more than their big channel views. Unless you pay a certain amount to Rumble, and at that point, you're not making enough to cover what you're paying them. So I do not see in the foreseeable future me being very active on Rumble. Everything will go through YouTube, be synced over, and go to Rumble, but you will not see me actively engaging in Rumble unless something happens. Because really and truly, the money is just not going to be there. Some of the big content creators, they have said that, you know, you figure they make about $20,000-$30,000 a month, which that's a lot of money. And they'll put out the same video that they're making thousands of dollars on, and they might be making 12 cents on Rumble. So when I say there's no good alternatives, I'm not kidding. And there has been a lot of issues where Rumble is not paying attention to their viewers. They're not paying attention to their content creators, and it seems like they haven't got their life together. But YouTube was the same way at one point in time. And now YouTube got everything together. They figured out everything. And now they're basically just eating themselves from within. And they, you know, the inmates, they have control over the insane asylum. So that's the problem when you get too big, and that's where YouTube is at now. Same thing with Facebook. I mean, I had a video that was the 1 minute video on how to make laundry detergent. And you have to realize that it's just me and my wife. We're not very active with sports or anything of that nature. And so I was showing how to make laundry detergent last for roughly, about a half year. And it was a 1 minute video, a shorts video, and Facebook banned it. Said that me showing how to mix chemicals in a bucket was pornography. Okay, there's that. Rumble right now is more about free speech, and that's what I want. That's what I like. I don't care that you disagree with me. I like that. I like it when people have they say something that they disagree, because we're in a society now that's considered bad, but it's not. Our founding fathers, they believed that you needed disagreement so that you could find some type of middle ground, and that it basically fleshed out a lot of issues, because I'm not always right. I'm not always doing things the right way. And there might be something that I'm saying or doing that I don't have enough information, or I didn't know I didn't have enough information. Maybe you do, and you can put that on there and say, hey, look at this. Or maybe I can come back and say, yes, I understand where you're at, but have you looked at this? And you go, oh, wow, that opened up a whole different understanding. So it works both ways. And so that's the reason why I think free speech should be protected. I don't care what you think or what you say, so long as you're polite. And as long as you're polite, I'll be polite. We can disagree. I'd rather have disagreement and clarity to having everybody be in agreement and there be mass confusion like we see in today's times, where nobody can trust anything, and where deep fakes make everything so easy to persuade people and change people, and the fact that rules and policies change at a whim now. In fact, there's a video coming out very soon that there was a 2021 executive order that was banning something, and it wasn't on the state site. And when I looked back in August, it wasn't there. And then just this past Saturday, I looked, and it was there, and I'm like, where'd this come from? And they said, oh, this is March 2021. Got to looking into it. The next day, all of a sudden, there was more data that wasn't there before. And looking at that expanded amount of data, I found out they had done some shady stuff in February that wasn't even noted in the news or anything. So that's something to, be cognizant of, that, everything can change radically in this new information age. And so if you have disagreements, that's actually good, because that means you got a person talking to another person. And I trust people who are thinking logically and acting in a polite manner versus this garbage that we have, where everybody's hiding behind a keyboard. All politeness has went out the window. All logic has went out the window, and it's whatever I perceive to be true. So there's Rumble. Hopefully, it will be the alternative I'm looking for. I don't think it's there. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying on YouTube. Everything will be funneled from YouTube to Rumble. But if tomorrow YouTube turns off the lights to this channel because I said something and they disagreed with it and they decide to take it off, then yeah, I'll be on Rumble. I have plan B. And maybe I'll sync up with some other platform and I might have to do something else. But for a time being, I'm staying on YouTube. That is the cash cow. If you know anything about marketing, you understand what I'm talking about. That's a marketing term. It's a cash cow. And right now, Rumble is what we call problem child. And it has a potential to be a star. I don't see them being there now, or it could be a dog. So I'm hoping that it's a star and that turns into a cash cow. But right now, I'm staying with YouTube, but I am funneling through Rumble. A while back, I talked about that I was going to consider going to Patreon. Well, I have, and I've created a channel. I'm still learning a lot with Patreon, and they're coming out with more and more stuff to help content creators. They're trying their best. For instance, YouTube allows you to have a store on YouTube, but for every $5 that you pass through YouTube, content creators, we might get 60 cents. And so Patreon is doing a lot of stuff. So like super chats, you give me $5. Okay, by the time YouTube takes their cut, I get 60 cents. So you lost $5, I get 60 cents, and YouTube is made better for it. Whereas, I can't even buy a cup of coffee. Patreon says that's not fair. We should get some money. And I agree with them. But the lion's share should go to the content creators that the money's supposed to go to. I mean, if you're going to be handling money, you should be paid to handle the money. I agree with that. I would love to have it where nobody handled money except me and I get it all, but that's not the way our world works. So yes, I understand they need to get paid some. They do take out a portion, I think like 20%, something like that. So, I get, 80 cents for every dollar. Okay. So they've started things where you can do monthly subscriptions. They're now allowing stores so you can sell on Patreon. They're allowing all this stuff to where I don't have to create a website and pay monthly fees that would eat up all the profits. I can just go to Patreon. They basically do it all for me, and then they take their cut, which they should. Because that's money I would be making to the better versus money I pay out to try to do it on my own. And I'd still have to pay third party people. So if you haven't gone to Patreon and you're watching this on Rumble, YouTube, anything, any of the social media platforms that I post my videos on, please, please, please consider going to Patreon. Uh, I know that you consider these videos to be free, and they are, and I don't mind that, but you have to realize that what we get paid is not enough to cover the cost of cameras and memory cards and lighting and all this stuff. One camera will run, on the low end $200, normally at 2000. You got sound equipment, you got editing software, all these things just to produce quality videos. I'm not saying produce quality videos. I'm producing videos at a quality I can afford, not the videos I want to produce because I can't afford that level of quality yet. So to help me grow, if you want to help me out, consider becoming a patron at Patreon. And so I don't want to beat a dead horse there, but I just wanted to bring that up. So there's a number of editing programs out there. And the one that is probably the easiest for somebody like me is a program called VideoPad Pro. It's produced by NCH Software. Now, this is a very old technology, old software type of program. It is for somebody that is very new to editing, that they're still learning, that they don't know all the tips and tricks and things of that nature. So this allows you to produce content at a level and quality probably better than what you can produce with other starter programs or with YouTube's own editing program, which is garbage. That's absolutely garbage. You shouldn't use it, I don't think. Although I do use it for some features, like blocking out my tag and stuff. There's better features with YouTube for that than there is with this VideoPad Pro. But some of the issues that I have is VideoPad Pro does not allow you to have linked clips, the audio balance. So I'll have clips where the audio is not leveled out, and I have to go to each separate clip and change it, or I have to go through, export the entire file, and then audio balance that entire file. And once I've done that, then re-export it into the file that I wish to put on YouTube and now Rumble. Yeah, that's a pain in the butt. And it's not the best program, not the best system in the world. So I'm trying to look at other program alternatives. So again, Patreon, being subscriber, hitting like, commenting, these are things that will help get me the funds I need to get a better program. However, if you know of any program that is affordable and relatively easy for a beginner, then please let me know. Like, for instance, I had one content creator say, yes, DaVinci is probably the best free program, but the learning curve is so steep that unless you know a lot about editing, you really don't want to get it. Okay, that's going to steer me away from it, even though it's the right price point, free, and they say the quality is better than VideoPad. If I'm going to be spending hours more than what I already spend, I can't do that. But if you know of some programs out there that are affordable, and affordable for me is going to be less than $100. I'll be honest. As less under $100 as it can be, better. And then also ease of use. Because yes, I have an advanced degree. Yes, I have some experience now editing. I'm getting close to 50 years old. The old noggin doesn't grab a hold of new concepts as easily as when it did back when I was in my 20s. So, please be cognizant of that. I would appreciate it. But if you have any comments about that, I would love to hear them. So, as I mentioned before, I've not been listening to a lot of the content creators, or not content creators, but the consultants for content creators saying post 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos a week. I've not done that. If you'll notice, I quit doing shorts. The reason why, YouTube has changed how they do their analytics for their shorts. I used to be able to post a short, get 2,000, 3,000 views, 4,000 views, and I might have 200, 300 subscribers off of that one short. And then once it became popular and they got what they wanted and started having TikTokers come over to YouTube because some money is greasing palms. And so you had TikTokers and all that going to YouTube out of fear, because fear rules everything, evidently, in this environment. And so I was putting out a ton of stuff and I was not getting the value that I think that I needed. That value has changed as I put out less content, and I feel more relaxed. I'm able to spend more time learning techniques on editing and trying new things. So that helps. And I've even noticed with some of the bigger content creators that they're actually cutting back. So, for instance, there's 4 guys I watch with their fishing content, actually more than that they've went from sometimes 2 videos a week, 3 videos a week, to now they might only put out 1 video every 2 to 3 weeks. And some of them are almost a month. And I'm seeing some channels that they're putting out stuff every 2 to 3 months, that you might get a video every 2 to 3 months and that's it. You're not getting anything else. You gotta wait another 2, 3 months before they put out something. And what's happening, something with the analytics, the views that you get on that video are such better quality that it makes more sense for the content creator just to not put out content. I know one guy right now that he is almost to 1 million subscribers, which blows my mind. And I know he is sitting on hundreds of videos he has already edited. He's got them ready to drop, and he's refusing to drop them because the analytics has changed so much. He's making more money not putting it out. He'll put it out later, or he won't put it out at all. That's how crazy it is. So for the time being, just until I figure out the Rumble stuff, I've got a few videos that I'm not saying they're poor quality. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they're not the content that I want to be representative of what this channel is known as. And so I'll have some content out doing things that I might need to know once in my life, twice in my life. And because I know it, I'm going to share it with others in the hopes I can help them out. But it's not something I'm expecting a ton of views on. And that's not what this channel really covers, but I'm putting it out there just because this channel is really quirky. There's no niche. Quirk is the niche. I am the strange, eccentric uncle or best friend that you go to visit and hang around just to see what kind of crazy stuff I get into. So you've seen me clean AC coils because I have a lot of young people that they don't know about this. Nobody ever taught them that. So I did one on how to clean coils. I teach a ton of boys how to fish. It's amazing how many young men I've taught how to fish over my lifetime. And so I did a few knot tying videos, just essential knots I think anybody needs to know. I'm not a knot tying video, but they got quality views. So I'm gonna put out a bunch of those type of odd videos just till we get the syncing with Rumble figured out. And then I'll go back to probably doing a one video a week. I may even kick back to one video every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. If I do that, I'm hoping that the level of the video will be so superior that my viewers will appreciate it better. And by cutting back and producing better quality content than what I was previously, I think my viewers are telling me, yes, we think that's a good thing because I'm getting a ton of views that are quality views. People watching at least 50% or more of video. So that's quality content. So if you like this scheduling of, just till I get Rumble figured out, do a bunch, and then go back to what I was doing once a week. And then if I need to, dropping down, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're on Rumble. Do you like that? Do you want more engagement? What do you want? Let me know if you're watching from Rumble versus YouTube, or if maybe a friend shared it and you saw it on Instagram. I need to know this stuff because YouTube don't let me know, and Rumble definitely ain't gonna tell me. So let me know that. So along, hand in hand with scheduling, we need to talk about content. Now, my fishing content is getting a lot of good views, and I would expect it to. I mean, I love fishing. Right now, this period of time in Florida, it sucks. Putting out content sucks, and it's hard. And if you are not used to Northwest Florida, and there's one channel that I watch, every time he says he's going to do a tip, his tip is follow the shad. That's his big tip. It don't matter what he's chasing, follow the shad. And for him, that works. Guess what? Northwest Florida, we don't have a lot of shad. We have them. They're rare. You don't see that many of them. So when you're fishing and all of a sudden you got menhaden, all right, that when they come in, every big fish, so you're talking about bass, you're talking about chain pickerel, you're talking about redfish, all these big giant fish that would be in shallow areas that I'd be fishing, if the water system is clear and it's got a ton of menhaden, they're going to be gorged by the time you get on the water. And as far as YouTube is concerned, or not YouTube, but actually filming with GoPros and things of that nature, you have to be at a certain level of light. Otherwise, the camera is not going to pick it up. So yeah, I could do a video where I'm fishing at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to beat the menhaden, and I'd be loading up on fish, but you wouldn't be able to see the first bit of it. So if I can't film it, it's as if I didn't catch it. So yes, there will be some more fishing as it gets cooler. We're having what my wife lovingly refers to as false fall. So we have 65 degrees in the mornings, and then by midday it's like 90 something degrees with a heat index of almost 100. So it's not quite the 110 heat index that we was dealing with, or hotter, but it's still there. You get up in the mornings, it's nice, and by midday it's intolerable. we'll have one big dip around time that our fair takes place, about the third or fourth week of October, and it'll dip down real cold, and then it'll get hot again. And then after that, it's 2 weeks of hot, 2 weeks cold, 2 weeks of hot, 2 weeks cold. And they're saying February it's going to get just frigid. So in Northwest Florida, at least until I get a chance to make enough money and get enough sponsorship, I can go to other places outside of my area. I don't have shad. I don't have certain things like mullet was running the other day. Well, redfish were so gorged on mullet, yeah, you couldn't do anything. Uh, they were just listless almost. They were so full of fish, and that's where it's at now. That the bait fish are just so plentiful that you can't outcompete them. And we don't have shad and things of that nature that you can put out something a little different. You can change things up. We don't have a lot of crappie, so I won't be able to get crappie fishing in and produce a lot of crappie content. So if you like that, Northwest Florida is not the place for that, and you're not going to see it from a Northwest Florida fisherman. Even though, if I catch one, be hey yay, because that'd be like a once every 40 years success. Um, but you will see me maybe going out for sheephead when it starts getting colder. And so there will be fishing. There'll be different types of fishing, and it'll be fishing indicative of Northwest Florida. And you'll see that. I don't do a lot of largemouth fishing. That's just, we have so many largemouth around here. I don't see it. I mean, it's bycatch for us. And it doesn't matter whether it's brackish water, salt water, fresh water, the bass are there, and they're just bycatch. I'll show them video only because I know people care about largemouth. I want to do some hunting content, but you have to be very careful. As I said before, with YouTube standards, they don't like anything with guns. They see guns as violence. I disagree. I see that as a God-given right, and also a federally government accepted right. And they don't like that. They want to get rid of all channels that have any type of hunting content. So I'll have to be very careful. But I thought about doing some hunting videos. I really hadn't hunted a lot since my father passed, and since my accident, I had a very bad auto accident that took a long period of recovery. And I've had a number of friends die that I hunted with, so I don't hunt the same places. I don't do what I used to do, and I'm gonna have to figure out a new norm for me, and that may be in a few years out. So I won't be doing a lot of deer hunting, but I might do dove hunting, or might do squirrel hunting, or something like that. And if I do that, I have to be very careful how I portray it, because YouTube will more than likely demonetize me. And if they don't demonetize me, definitely those videos I will not be allowed to make as much money on. Same thing as if I did a catch, clean, cook. There's one type of fish I've been trying to go after now for months, and I've been skunked every single time. And I've already got a video ready to be edited showing how to do the lure to show you me catching the fish, to the other plans I have for this fish, because I've got some stuff that's crazy that I want to do with this fish. So I might, but if I do that, I know that that the channel I have to be very careful that don't get me demonetized. And also when I do it, me showing how I clean it, how I skin it, how I do these things, it's going to cause me to not get half the revenue I normally would. Not that I get much to begin with. So for me, it's worth doing. But I think it'd be so neat that from a cultural, historical, educational point of view, that viewers would like it, and I want to do it. So that hunting fishing content is here to stay. That's who I am. I do hunting and fishing, but that is not the niche of this channel. Quirk is the niche. And so with that, my best performing video thus far has been about how to edit and market books. Because I'm a author, I'm a multiple award-winning author, also have a small publishing company. And so I was talking about uh, Caribbean patties. It's a type of hand pie and how that related to book marketing. And that video is really, that's what got me monetized. It is, but because it's the one got me monetized, if you watch it, I don't make a dime off of it. So I may remake that video, revise some things I've said, and I may put it out. I may or may not get the views on it. Who knows? You never know. But if I do, that is something that, be expecting this. I'm as winter comes, I can't be out in certain weather conditions, because our weather, we have more rains, we have more winds, the waters are more dangerous. We have conditions that make it unsafe to be out. It's not just the cold, it's just unsafe. And I only make content as I have free time because I have a full-time job. This isn't my full-time job. So that means that I have to supplement it with other content. So that means that I have a bunch of experiments I did with fermentation that have been sitting around now for basically a year. And so I may put out some of that. I am a award-winning artist. Most people don't know that. And I do a type of heritage art where you paint on feathers. And so a number of people have asked me to do some feather art on my channel. And again, this channel's niche is quirk. So I probably will have some artwork that I'm doing. There'll be some fermentations that I do. The cooking does not get a lot of views, but it's still getting good reviews. So cooking, I'm wanting to make a smoker, so I'll show how I make a smoker and all that. These things are all things that I'm letting you know that you're going to see more quirk as the fall and winter come, whereas I have more time to do more homesteading, gardening, fishing in the spring and summer. So there is a pattern to the chaos and craziness that it makes sense to me, but may not make sense to anybody else. That as I have free time, what am I going to do in my free time? What am I going to put out for you to see and enjoy? And my hope is that you will see this channel as I do, that I am the crazy uncle or the crazy best friend that you come and visit from time to time to see what in the world I'm up to. And maybe I can teach you something, and maybe you can share something with me and teach me something. And that's the community I like. That's what I like to put out. That's what I like to watch. I watch a ton of hunting and fishing stuff, even though YouTube is totally dead set against it. Netflix has about taken everything off that's hunting and fishing. There's no good alternatives to see that kind of content. So I do like it. So I put on my channel, but I like other stuff. I like home fermentation. I cook a lot, and it's an amazing number of young men that have said, thank you. You taught me how to cook something for myself. And that came from my father, really. He was a fireman. Now, by the time I came on scene, he had transitioned out working for a fire department, but that was his pride and joy, being a fireman. It just wasn't in the cards for him to be a professional for full-time, full career, and have children. So he didn't pursue it as a profession for much after he got married. But he taught my mother how to cook, and he taught me how to cook, and he taught my sister how to cook. And he loved the fact that we all cook differently. And towards the end of his life, he didn't cook anything. He was a fantastic cook, one of the best cooks I've ever seen. And he could season, and he had an approach. Now, my mother's no slouch. Don't get me wrong. And I know mom's watching right now. And uh, I, my wife, when we were on our honeymoon, we went to Paula Deen's restaurant, and my wife and I were eating, and my wife kind of had a look on her face, and she's like, "Don't tell your mom this, but she can cook better than Paula Deen." And so my mom's no slouch. My mom's a good cook. Now, my wife don't like to cook, but she's no slouch either. I'll give you that. She's definitely not a slouch when it comes to cooking, especially baked goods. She make a carrot cake that was as good as my grandma Johnson's, and that's high praise. My dad was a fantastic cook, and he would sit back and he would just enjoy. He wouldn't cook. And I asked him why one time. He said, "Because now I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Everybody cooks something different, and I get to try something different all the time, and it tastes different, and I'm enjoying it." And when I was learning how to cook, he told me, "I want to teach you how to cook so you don't have to marry out of hunger." He didn't believe that you should be marrying somebody because you're hungry. And a lot of young men are now realizing that that college degree is not going to help you out. That piece of paper, it only goes as far as you are willing to take it. It's not a guaranteed job anymore. Those days are gone. Those previous generations have outsourced the labor overseas to third world countries to where Americans no longer have jobs, and where you have to have advanced degrees to get pennies on dollar for a job that doesn't require a degree, really and truly. They just do it to sort people out. It's a filtration system for interviews, and that's not the way it should be. And we got an economy that's in dire straits, and you have a population of young people right now that unless they're learning a trade, and even with trades, it's getting difficult to make money in trades like you used to. Unless you're in a trade or something other that's so niche specific, you're making a killing and you're able to support yourself. A lot of young people, they're working 2 and 3 jobs, doing side gigs, anything that they can, hustling the best they can to make ends meet, and they're paying rent that far exceeds buying a house and the payments you would make. And they're paying for cars that are not worth the value that they're paying. And they're paying for phones just because phones are a necessity in life now when they shouldn't be. So they have all these built-in costs that are artificially inflated. And so they're having to figure out, how do I eat and it be affordable and nutritious so that I don't end up with diabetes, heart attack, or something other, because I know I will never make the standard of living that my mother and father and my grandmother and grandfather made. And so that is why I do the cooking. If for the older viewers that, and I've got some friends that some of them are YouTubers, and they've kind of made some not bad comments, but kind of backhanded in a way that, yeah, he does some crazy stuff, he does some cooking, and they would kind of belittle it a little bit. But I don't think they realize that this generation does not have the financial resources nor the economic future that their generation has. And cooking is a way for this up and coming generation to cut some corners, protect their health the best they can, promote a good, healthy living, and still, enjoy life and find ways to pinch pennies to pay for built-in costs that shouldn't be built in. I know it sounds crazy. It may not make sense to some of my older viewers, but my younger viewers, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I wish that people that like it and get a lot out of it, that they would share it more, because that's important. I mean, that helps me to help others, and more I help others, that's really where I excel. That's what I love doing, is I love helping people. That is my heart, is helping people. And if I can do that, if I can give you something, a nugget of wisdom, a thought concept, and done in a way you never thought of, a tip, a technique, anything, that's that's where I love to be. That's where I love to exist. That's the reason why I'm a mediator. I mean, I love trying to help parties reach agreement and save them the agony of going through court or having to go deal with onerous governmental system that's just not going to care. I love that. I find that wonderful. And I've had the opportunity, the blessed opportunity, save people that were about to be kicked out of their homes, and also save people that they were renting those homes and allow them to keep their business and not have to get rid of a potential revenue stream. And so it works both ways. I'm not just a one-side person. I see things from a number of angles. So art, yeah, I'll show you something about what I do. It's a heritage art. Yes, I'll be selling the paintings. Yes, I'm going to be making Christmas ornaments, and I'll show you some of the Christmas ornaments. And yes, you'll be able to buy them, and you can contact me, and I'll sell them, and I'll ship them. But that is, I think art is one of the hierarchy of needs, that it's unique, because if you do art, it tends to be when you're at the very bottom or you're at the very top of the hierarchy of needs. Sometimes you do art because you have nothing else, and that is your release. That is your escape. That is your way to connect. And sometimes you have such joy where one is nothing but despair, nothing is but anguish, fear, all the negatives. Or sometimes it's just gratitude that's not gotten worse, because things can always get worse. And so sometimes it's done out of gratitude. I know people that they make art as offerings to the God that they worship, and they see it as a religious experience. And you have to have certain things in your life when you're going through something. So if I can show you something with art and you find it to be unique, beautiful, culturally relevant, that's great. And then at the higher levels, sometimes you have no other way of expressing your joy than to paint or to write or to play music. And so I do know how to play music. I'm a tuba player. I will not subject you to that, but I can subject you to some award-winning artwork painted on a feather. So I will do that. And, you know, fermentation, I'm not trying, if you're under 21, it is against the law for you to be engaging in stuff that might be making alcohol. So you're not supposed to make it. I am not the police. I am saying that you're not supposed to make it. For those that are allowed to make it, or those interested in the science behind it, I'll show you some low-cost techniques that are tried and true. Yes, it may not be what other channels say to do, but it is effective and it works. And according to my friends, it's good quality stuff. So, I mean, I even had a company that dealt in alcohol that was wanting to give me a loan to start up my own meadery. Yes, I said mead for all y'all geeks out there that you like fermented honey. Yes, I make them. I do have a playlist of food and drinks. You can see me making mead. Go to that playlist. I see you. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to say thank you so much It is both a blessing and an honor to have this opportunity to speak with you, to be with you on a weekly basis, sometimes even more than that, for you to invite me in your homes or wherever you're at, on whatever device you're looking at from whatever platform, and that you saw value in what I was presenting as a possible alternative to enjoy for your time. Time is money, and you spent that valuable time with me. Thank you so much. And with that, I'll see you again next time. Bye.